Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Hollywood. Woke Hollywood panics as faith-based movies start getting major backing. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Faith-based movies have become a major trend in Hollywood as studios start to recognize their profitability in an industry struggling to find relatable audiences. And the most significant thing for our culture about this is that you're not getting nonstop woke DEI messaging throughout movies anymore. Now you start to get an alternative view. You start to get, even if it's a small view, 10% of movies start to become faith-based. And it doesn't matter what the religion is. It doesn't matter what the faith is. Just even having some kind of a hope, as opposed to just depravity and gender confusion and unnecessary race swaps. Having positive messaging in mainstream entertainment will unravel all of the lies and the nonsense pushed out in agendas in mainstream content. The only way they're successful in pushing their agenda is if there's no competing message. If there's competition, they start to lose immediately. Look at what happened with Twitter. As soon as Twitter started to not censor the way they used to censor, as soon as it was under new ownership, the counter-narrative, the truth started to get out about many subjects. And if you have one point of view that's on one side, that's fine. Just have the alternate point of view. But they didn't allow the alternate point of view. Now that Twitter has done that, YouTube is more open, Facebook is more open, Instagram is more open, and the lies and the one-sided nonsense starts to become diminished. Historically, Christian movies were produced outside the Hollywood system, but now major studios are starting to embrace them as financially viable projects. Films like Sound of Freedom and Jesus Revolution have proved that faith-based content can be box office hits, drawing millions of viewers despite limited marketing. Netflix has joined the trend, investing in Christian films like Mary, which garnered 25 million views in its first 2 weeks alone. Christian filmmakers have built their own distribution networks, bypassing traditional Hollywood gatekeepers and marketing directly to religious audiences. Independent faith-based studios like Angel Studios and Kingdom Story Company have become major players, producing films that consistently outperform expectations. Many faith-based films promote conservative values, often focusing on family, traditional roles, and religious themes that mainstream Hollywood has largely ignored. Hollywood's financial struggles have made it more open to faith-based movies, as they provide a reliable audience in an era of declining ticket sales. So even if it doesn't become a massive blockbuster, at least they know they will get a base of support. And if they respect that base and they produce content for that base, consistent with people's expectations, they will make money. Mel Gibson's The Passion of Christ in 2004 was a major turning point, proving that Christian films could be massive financial successes. Major actors like Dennis Quaid, Hilary Swank, and Jennifer Garner have embraced faith-based roles, recognizing the potential for success in these films. Critics often dismiss these movies as simplistic or politically motivated, but audience ratings on sites like Rotten Tomatoes frequently exceed 90%. Hollywood's shift towards faith-based content is also a reaction to cultural division, as many Americans seek entertainment that aligns with their values. Streaming platforms like Netflix and Amazon are capitalizing on the demand, making Christian films more accessible than ever before. Faith-based movies are expected to grow even more in the coming years, with more funding, higher budgets, and broader distribution options. This movement marks a significant cultural shift in Hollywood, where traditional religious values are being reintroduced into mainstream storytelling. And on every possible dimension, this is something good. Opportunity for people that don't want to tell the kind of stories that Hollywood's been telling over the last 5 to 10 years in particular. Creating different options for mainstream culture and giving parents and families even something they can show their children, and even having an option that a family can watch a film together focused on normal family values. For decades, Hollywood's been known for its glitzy blockbusters, high-budget action films, and increasingly progressive storytelling. But in recent years, a surprising shift has been taking place in the entertainment industry. While traditional Hollywood films struggle to find an audience, Christian and faith-based movies have been quietly dominating the box office. These films, once considered niche or independent, are now major players in the film industry. With films like Sound of Freedom in 2023 and Jesus Revolution in 2023 doing hundreds of millions of dollars in box office, Hollywood is finally starting to take faith-based entertainment seriously. Faith-based films have always had a place in Hollywood, but their success has historically come in waves. In the early 20th century, biblical epics like Ben-Hur in 1925 and then the Ten Commandments in 1956 were massive hits. These films were more than just religious stories, they were grand spectacles designed to all audiences with their scale and production values. But by the 1970s and 1980s, Hollywood had largely moved away from religious films, favoring action, sci-fi, and edgier storytelling. The rise of blockbuster filmmaking, driven by films like Star Wars, Jaws, and Indiana Jones, meant that traditional religious films no longer had the same cultural impact. However, this changed dramatically in 2004 with The Passion of the Christ, directed by Mel Gibson. Made on a relatively small budget of $30 million, The Passion became a global phenomenon, grossing over $610 million worldwide. This proves something Hollywood had long ignored. Christian audiences were a massive untapped market. But while The Passion of the Christ demonstrated the financial potential of faith-based films, Hollywood didn't immediately embrace the trend. For years, Christian films remained largely independent, produced outside of the traditional studio system. It wasn't until the 2010s that faith-based films started making waves again. Small-budget movies like Heaven is for Real in 2014, War Room in 2015, and I Can Only Imagine in 2018 started pulling in tens of millions of dollars despite having limited budgets and marketing. Then in 2023, everything changed with the release of Sound of Freedom. No one expected Sound of Freedom was going to become a massive financial success. The movie that told the story of a former government agent fighting human trafficking was made for just $14 million, and it was crowdfunded on top of that. Unlike traditional Hollywood productions, it had no major studio backing and relied just on the crowdfunding to get the movie made. That's the whole business model of Angel Studios. Yet against all odds, Sound of Freedom became one of the biggest box office surprises of the decade. It grossed over $250 million worldwide, outperforming major Hollywood franchises like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which was a disaster. The success of Sound of Freedom sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Studios realized that faith-based films weren't just profitable, they were very profitable. And it wasn't just about Sound of Freedom. Other Christian films in 2023 and 2024 also performed really well. Jesus Revolution in 2023 grossed $53 million on a $15 million budget. Unsung Hero in 2024, produced for $6 million, became a sleeper hit. Mary in 2024, a Netflix release, got 25 million views in just 2 weeks. These numbers weren't just flukes, they were part of a pattern. Christian audiences, long ignored by Hollywood, were finally being recognized as a powerful force at the box office. So why are faith-based movies finally doing well in Hollywood? It's due to several factors. One, Hollywood's financial struggles. The entertainment industry is in trouble. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, major studios have struggled to bring audiences back to theaters. Blockbusters that were once guaranteed hits like The Flash in 2023 and Indiana Jones 5 and the disaster called The Marvels have flopped, costing studios hundreds of millions of dollars in losses. Meanwhile, Hollywood has faced backlash for pushing increasingly progressive themes in movies. Audiences feel disconnected from this woke, nonsensical storytelling, which is really not storytelling at all. And that's leading audiences to look for alternative classic storytelling. And we have this problem in more than just movies. The actual craft of storytelling has really almost been lost. Faith-based films, in contrast, offer traditional values, inspirational messages, and feel-good storytelling. Exactly what many moviegoers have been looking for. One of the reasons Christian movies have thrived is that they use a different marketing channel. Traditional Hollywood films rely on massive advertising budgets, spending millions on trailers, billboards, and TV ads. But Christian studios like Angel Studios use a grassroots approach. For example, Sound of Freedom used a pay-it-forward model, allowing audiences to buy tickets for others to see the movie. This created a movement rather than just a movie release. Faith-based studios also partner with churches, conservative media, and online influencers to directly reach their target audience, bypassing traditional Hollywood marketing channels. And in that way, by creating their own marketing channel, they're not directly competing on the same platforms as blockbusters or massive Hollywood movies. They're reaching people directly through their community groups and influencer groups. For years, Hollywood has shifted towards progressive storytelling, often sidelining traditional or conservative viewpoints. Many normal people don't feel like modern movies represent their values anymore, which they of course don't. Christian films, on the other hand, speak directly to the audience. They feature faith, family, and perseverance, themes that resonate with millions of people who feel alienated by mainstream entertainment pushing a self-destructive agenda. And this is not just a small group of people. In the US, over 63% of Americans identify as Christian or identify with Judeo-Christian values. That's a massive potential audience that Hollywood has been overlooking for years. Faith-based films aren't just succeeding in theaters, they're also dominating streaming platforms. Netflix, Amazon Prime, and other services have invested heavily in Christian content, knowing that faith-based films have strong, loyal audiences. With some Christian movies now outperforming some major Hollywood blockbusters, the question is, will this trend continue? Right now, all signs point to yes. Major studios are getting involved. Lionsgate has committed to distributing more faith-based films. Netflix and Amazon are investing in Christian content. Even traditional Hollywood directors are exploring religious storytelling. And it's not just about Christianity. The success of faith-based films has opened the door for more values-driven storytelling, including films focused on traditional family themes, patriotism, and moral dilemmas. One of the biggest challenges moving forward is whether major studios will water down faith-based storytelling in an attempt to make it more mainstream. Right now, most successful Christian films are made outside of Hollywood by independent studios like Angel Studios or Kingdom Story Company. If major studios take over, these films could lose their authenticity. Many in the Christian film industry believe that staying independent is key to maintaining their connection with their audience. And they're probably right about that. Hollywood has a way of subverting everything. They live to subvert. An independent company can control what their product is and then do distribution deals. And ideally, the companies doing that will continue to do that. You can't really rely on Hollywood to focus on quality or respect traditional values. Hollywood is moving away from the woke agenda, and their new religion is profit. Ultimately, Hollywood's shift towards Christian movies isn't about faith, it's about making money. Studios have realized that family-friendly, values-driven entertainment is profitable. With Hollywood struggling to connect with audiences, faith-based films have emerged as a way they can actually make some movies and make some money. They provide inspirational stories, strong moral messages, and a guaranteed audience, things that many traditional Hollywood movies no longer have. Faith-based movies may not replace traditional blockbusters, but they are here to stay. As Hollywood tries to win back audiences, one thing is clear. They can't ignore normal people anymore. They have to focus on what normal people actually want. And for the first time in decades, faith-based movies aren't just surviving, they're actually making money. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.